Hi everyone, Cliff here. Welcome to another UNAJUA learning series. This is where we present crowdsourced minimum actionable responses to important questions in 15 minutes or less. And this is part one of a three-part series focused on explaining how decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs for short, well, it's about how they work. But before we get stuck in, a big thank you to Celo Community Fund for getting behind African Tech Roundup's ongoing season of blockchain-themed learning content. One of the cool pieces of work the grant we've received has resourced is an op-ed by Michael Kimani, published in Kenyan Wall Street, entitled How African Digital Currency Innovation Found Roots in a Village. So if you'd like to learn how a Kenyan village digital currency has become a hallmark of African digital finance innovation, you should definitely check out this article. You can find a link to it in the show notes wherever you're listening. And if you'd like to learn more about Celo's mission to build a financial system that creates the conditions for prosperity for everyone, visit www.celo.org. Justin Irabor is a Nigerian creator, scientist, and knowledge worker. In the last 5 years, we've seen Justin go from being a content writer to working as performance marketer, then on to becoming a director of growth, and eventually morphing into a full-stack web developer. When Justin isn't posting viral hot takes on Twitter and writing widely read op-eds, he's part of the dev team at the Serbian platform-as-a-service provider TradeCore, where he's helping them build next-generation banking and investment products. On this podcast, Justin tackles the question, why DAO? Listen in to hear him offer some reasons why African tech entrepreneurs might do well to lean into the decentralized autonomous organization trend.
DAOs are a miracle of the internet. Truly internet native companies in a way that most people generally did not believe possible, right? Because in the past, right, you had really internet native companies in Facebook and Google and all. And so the idea that a DAO is more internet native than Facebook or Google, it sounds ridiculous. And yet it is true. One thing that people do not really think about when they think about businesses and tech companies and any transaction you do on the internet is that there is a really high cost of trust in any single transaction. The only reason I can send money through, say, Stripe or Paystack is because I believe that Paystack sits between me and the person that I'm sending the money to. And Paystack entire business model is based on that trust function. And the core idea is that we lose a lot of benefits that could be accruing to the original initiators of transactions, to the original creators of value, when we have middlemen lubricate that trust pathway. And this is where DAOs come in. They exist because the blockchain exists. And what is a blockchain? It's just a public ledger where you had databases, you had data that was hidden in gardens managed by centralized agencies. You now have all this data out in the open. And because the data is out in the open, people can coordinate around that data in the full knowledge that whatever you can see is what has happened. And so suddenly, the problem of trust is something that can be managed. And the management of that trust problem is a DAO. DAOs allow people to coordinate with more flexibility than before. And so they can then unlock some kinds of value that hasn't been unlocked before. And that would be my argument for why anyone should set up a DAO. If you've ever wanted to set up something that had less dependence on centralized platforms that did not have to bear the costs of that kind of centralization, then you should probably look into a DAO structure. So that's the very first part of my thing.
Well, folks, minimum actionable responses is what we do on this series. And Justin is certainly delivering on that. On the next installment of this UNAJUA series, Justin will walk us through the basics of setting up a DAO. But before we sign off, if you value our work, then please join our Patreon community and help the African Tech Roundup platform remain single-mindedly focused on serving Africa's tech and innovation ecosystem with robust, independent insight and learning content. Links are in the show notes wherever you're listening, or click on the Patreon tab on the main menu at africantechroundup.com. All right, that's it for now. Till next time, take it easy, Africa.